Oh, okay. Oh, hey, the mic is picking up on me. Delay ads during an important moment. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Uh, for anybody who wants to catch up on the archive, uh, uh, Bordading Bubble Reved, Ruadhán, Criso, back up. Uh, Bordading Bubble Reved, Sit Mach do Nod Very Bud, Ruan Iru, Criso, Ving Karchev Mon. So, and now in Science Snag, and now in English. Good morning, my strange people. I'm Ruan. Good morning, my strange people. How's your day been? I'm Ruan, and welcome to my. The literal translation is spooky home, but English, I tend to say spooky house. So, like Susie Sue and the happy house. There we go. Okay. I was really worried that the light would be absolutely terrible because the this apartment, like it's a bit of I have no idea how this apartment passed inspection, and I'm not going to get too deep into all of the nonsense, but yeah, like I've got a lot of light switches that are attached to nothing. Like there's the two hallway light switches between the bedroom and the bathroom and the front room, right? So there's the two hallway light switches; those work fine. You know, either one can go off and on. The switch for the kitchen works fine. The switch for the bathroom works fine. All other light switches in this apartment are purely decorative. Like they're not attached to outlets or there are no overhead lights except for the kitchen, bathroom, and hallway, of course. But I just made this. I'm really proud of it. I'm kind of not done, but I do need a much longer extension cord, but this here that I made, and I'm kind of not quite done with it, but I really wanted some extra light in the dining nook. So I got a ball of novelty yarn at one of the local thrift shops, and it was wrapped on this styrofoam sphere, right? And I kept the sphere for a couple of weeks after I, wound the yarn into, something that would actually like fit in one of my yarn bowls, so that, right? If you've done crochet or knit, you know what a freaking yarn bowl is, right? So anyway, like I that's why I like wound it up into its own little ball that I like. But I kept the styrofoam sphere around, and I'm just like, I want to give it a few months before I realize I'm not doing anything with it, right? So, but yeah, it took a couple of weeks after moving into here, and I decide, and it just like the notion hit me. Like I said, it was like after like week and a half, 2 weeks that that what that it that I wanted to make like an overhead light. Like they have the hook there on the ceiling. So, oh, Yamano, stop by to say hi and happy birthday to the kitty. Yeah, Phoebe is wandering around. She and Brân both are. They yeah, they'll be wandering back and forth. They know something's up, right? They know something's up. Not quite sure what. There we go. But yeah, like I'm actually like really impressed with how well the light over here is working. I was expecting it to be like at least 50% darker than it currently is. So, for my two regulars who will tune in and watch live streams and stuff, or will just like watch archived what's it called? The archive of the streams, or like come by and watch my uploaded stuff. So yeah, like my two regulars on my 1040 plus subscriber channel. But you know, like Eva O is subscribed to my channel, and I'm I uh, one of my exes was in one of her later bands, so that's like she and I have not personally met. Oh, here's Brân. Brân, young man, young man. Yep, there we go. Hello. Hello, little guy. Yes. Hello to Brân. So yeah, like I was saying, my two regulars may not be familiar with the phenomenon of Girl World. So, a brief history on Girl World. Oh, also, I did put it in the description box below, but I just wanted to point out to anybody who does not read the description box, which is apparently a lot of people. Tonight's music is coming from my stereo. It's a vintage 86, 85, 86 Quasar. Don't ask me for the model number off the top of my head. I uploaded a short slash Instagram reel, and I might have cross-posted it to TikTok, but I don't like TikTok. It's like it's a time suck, whereas like with Instagram reels and YouTube shorts, it feels a bit more casual that like I can watch a few and then go, whereas like TikTok is designed to suck you in for hours on end and watch these, short videos, right? So it's like I don't like that aspect of TikTok, so I'm not going to do it. At least I'm not going to do it as regularly as I do the other stuff. So yeah, like a brief oral history of Girl World. So, right. That's why I'm holding these. So, as I noted in my description box, tonight's band T-shirt is I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember if it's her most recent album or the one just before the latest one. But Ols, O-L-S on Bandcamp. Oh my god, I get so freaking excited every time she puts out music. And I've got a little bitch and moan thing about speaking of goth bands from Poland, right? Yeah, there's a so this came from Poland. It had and then this last couple years happened, and oh god, no, yeah, this would have been like the not the most recent, but the previous one, unless that is the most recent. But yeah, like if it's not the most recent, it is the most previous one, because this shit wasn't happening until like sometime last year, where I will place orders for band merch from Poland, and it doesn't show up. All that shows up is the bubble wrap that the CD was put inside of, and a little note from the post office that says, please don't. That's ingredients. And to be fair, I did cook it in bacon grease, right? I'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, like there's this band that in Poland, Misery, M-I-S-E-R-E-A, right? Misery, and classic goth rock band from Poland. I first got tipped off because they do a beautiful Ross Williams cover. And I'm having a brain fart, but I also don't have the CD with me to, like explain shit, right? Oh yeah, Brân's adorable and he knows it, and it's how he gets away with everything. Yeah, like, I mean, that's how cats work, right? So anyway, like I said, Ols, go check her music out. I get really excited every time she puts something out. And before the fire, I had the last ever of like when she was still doing handmade merch. I like I said, and then there was a fire. Like I had a hand painted T-shirt from with like the the art that was on her first album. I had the last one of those ever, and it was in my size, which I mean, it was a tiny bit snug because European medium versus US men's medium. I'm I I'm 4'11", so I think like a men's small would would be ideal if I were at an ideal weight. But yeah, like it was the last one ever. And then fire. But yeah. So the music though is Babylonian Tiles. It's been forever since I've listened to Babylonian Tiles. So Basking in the Sun at Midnight. I think this was 1996. Babylonian Tiles, Green Midnight Glow. I think this was 80s or not 97-ish. I don't know. This was Y2K, though I think this is a reissue. Babylonian Tiles, Technicolor Aftermath, which and I know it was 2000 because of the one of the remixes on the, or one of the two mixes on three. I can't. They did the layout for the track listing on this in like. I mean, I will say it's better done than Miss Rosie Lynn Ditch, and I like to call her Rosie Lynn Ditch for a reason I will get to in a moment. Anyway, and then we've got Saints and Sorcerers 1 and 2. Both of these were on St. Thomas Records, which is now defunct. So, and if you're wondering that the reason I picked out some stuff that's on a record label that's now defunct to skirt the I always really want to get really pedantic when people are like, oh, it's copyrighted music, can't play it. I'm like, all music is copyrighted. It's just whether or not the distribution is the record label and or distribution are filing RIAA and DMCA, like automatically, right? So it's whether or not it's registered with digital distribution stuff for royalties, right? All music is copyrighted. You own the copyright on anything you produce, even before you finish it. Like if you have an unfinished novel and then and your brother wants to publish it as his own, if you have evidence and that poor man's copyright, just mail a copy yourself in in a letter and don't open it until you got to go to court about it. Like that's a plot device on crime shows. That is not a thing. As long as you have some kind of evidence that this is your unfinished novel, even though your brother stole it and finished it up in his own way, like you therefore still own, like I said, as long as you've got some kind of proof that the first half that was written was something you did, which digital stuff. So like WordPress and stuff, not WordPress, Microsoft Word and all that. Like it keeps timestamps on stuff. So yeah, as long as you can prove that it's yours, you own the copyright on it. That is how copyright works. It's just corporate BS has made it very difficult for a lot of people for a number of reasons. So, Brân, I'm going to be doing some food prep in a moment. And the reason I don't mind that he's wandering around while I'm doing food prep is because, real quick, I got to pick up the other jewel case that slipped out. All right, and I will stick these up. I'll put these right next to the stereo real quick. Okay, I'm here. I'm back. So, anyway, as I began many times before, it's Phoebe's 14th birthday. Estimated, right? Because, just to keep things simple, I refer to, like she and Nigel were just coincidentally about the same age. But I adopted Phoebe from a foster, whereas Nigel just found me, and I don't want to talk anymore about it, okay? But yeah, so it's like, it's her 14th birthday, and so I'm making snacks for the kitties from, please tell me. Hey, it mirrors it back. All right, it sets it the right way. Sweet. Because I hate it when things are like mirrored, where like, you know, so like this would look backwards. It's like, you can get into your goddamn camera settings for this. So yeah, you can get into your goddamn camera settings and change this around. You know, like I'm believing there's a lot of streamers who are left-handed, and no, it's just they don't adjust their camera settings. You know, and then they bring up a book and, you know, it's all backwards. And then that's when I realized, oh yeah, you're a fucking dumb shit. Never mind. So anyway, so that's why I don't mind Brân walking across all this. This is not food I'm going to finish. Because if they don't finish it, I'm going to toss it out because, I'm not that much of a, I don't know, like insert derogatory stuff for like, I'm not that much of a food addict. There I go. Anyway, so I picked out 4 recipes. There we go. We've got sardines and greens, mackerel asparagus mousse. Wait, what's that other one say? Oh, salmon supreme and cream cheese and shrimp balls. So I'm going to do them in order of how they are in the book, which like the cream cheese and shrimp balls were first in the book. So let's see. This one's 1 ounce cream cheese, softened, 1 tablespoon grated cheddar cheese, 6 baby shrimp or 2 fresh shrimp, cooked and chopped into bite-sized pieces, 1 tablespoon wheat germ, 1 tablespoon catnip, 5 to 6 blades of grass, parsley, and 6 tiny pieces of shrimp. So, all right, I did forget something. Okay, I'm gonna pull a Rosie Lynn ditch for a moment, and okay, I've got this. Oh wait, no. Okay, I've got the shrimps. Cheddar cheese is right there. Oh, it's the cream cheese. All right, wait. Hold on. I was incorrect. Haha. Sometimes I'm wrong. Unlike Ms. Rosie Lynn Ditch. So anyway, all right, gotta get the food scale. Hey, you. Hold on. There we go. Hello. How are you, Brân? Oh, what was I gonna get? Real quick. Hold on. Had a major brain fart. Just a moment. Oh, okay. Gotta get the wheat germ, catnip, and the grass. Okay. And I'm also going to get a little bowl. And wheat germ. Oh, the scale. Oh, shit. That's what I needed to do all week. Oops. Okay, so, sorry about the white screen of death, everybody, but it's just my dining wall. So, yeah, I forgot like all week, but I'm still unpacking because chronic depression is a bitch and a half. So, so yeah, like I just I need to take some nail polish remover to this part, right? I mean, it screws on and off so I can wash the thing. So yeah, I need to take some nail polish remover to this to just like take off the old glue and put some new glue on it so that, you know, it stays put hopefully longer than it did the last time. And I've been sorting out my glues lately, and that's because I have a project that I really want to do, but I need some glues, and I need to find something. If you're somebody who is also in Vera the Chookin's chats and Discord with me, it is the craft project that I mentioned with a dry preserved specimen. You know, like it's in a box. It's if you want to go back in my YouTube land back to I want to say 2019 was it's a video. I believe I titled it "Art for an Absent Friend," where I made this little like it's not shadow box because it doesn't have a glass over it, but it was like art for an absent friend, and I ordered on eBay. Like I wanted a morning cloak butterfly because butterflies are a symbol of the soul and rebirth and beauty that comes from sadness. So like when I discovered like the morning cloak, common name for this one type of butterfly, that just really resonated with me because Cinnamon, she was like visual inspiration for the Sandman character Death. So I just like like I said, like that's back from like 2018. It's one of my earlier uploads. So and it was on display at Convergence 24 in Detroit at the gallery. Somebody wanted to buy it, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm sorry. I just really, really shitty memories that are not even all that old, of stuff that isn't even all that old, but which like is really trying to mess with my head, right? So okay, so let's measure out this 1 ounce of cream cheese. But I'm gonna sit here because I'm a very well prepared person. So anyway, a brief oral history of Gore World. So back around, I want to say 2013, a young lady came onto YouTube with the intent of starting a weight loss channel. Yeah, shitty memories are shitty. And like I said, it's not even all that long past. It's a still very recent one that I need to talk to about that I need to talk to with my therapist about. So yeah, and when I say like not even all that long ago, I'm going back to 2020, right? So yeah, like that was a like major mental health crisis event that like a lot of people really don't want to think of as such. But anyway, oral history of Gore World, right? So I'm just softening up the cream cheese because, like I said, I've got ADHD and I'm a very well prepared person. But anyway, Amberlynn Reed started up a YouTube channel where she hoped to showcase weight loss. She began at, I believe, 330 pounds, 340-ish. So she started out at about that, and she gradually gained another 300 thereabouts. She says she's never reached 600. A lot of people who are maybe a little bit more knowledgeable about this kind of thing than I am, and keep in mind, like two of my sisters, both the ones that share a father with me. So like there's the I've got an older half sister on my mother's side, older half sister on my dad's side, and then one full sister, which is the younger sister, who's actually autistic. That's a Gore World inside joke that I will clue people up on in a bit. So yeah, like Amberlynn Reed proceeded then to gain somewhere in the area of 300 pounds. So yeah, like two of my sisters have had bariatric surgery. This one's a whole ounce. That's going to be a lot. Well, then again, it is for 2 servings. Okay, 1 ounce cream cheese softened. Alrighty. So I'm starting out with this one because It's well, it's all cold and it's going to be so it's going to be pretty easy. All right, come on. All right, 2/4 teaspoons. Ah ah ah. So anyway, but yeah, like, because Amber Lynn Reed, the young lady who tried to start a weight loss channel only to like nearly double her weight, got a lot of viewers. Many were very much cheering her on in the weight loss and were there for her through the ups and downs because, you know, failing is a part of succeeding at this. I know it myself. So anyway, yeah, like I've been trying to take off like 3 stone for the last 5 years, but saying it's 3 stone sounds a lot more achievable than saying 45 pounds. Well, yeah, like 42 pounds. So, anyway, but and people just got interested in Amber Lynn Reed for a number of reasons. One of which being that she's kind of a train wreck. Like failing at weight loss aside, she is like a major train wreck. She grew up in and out of foster care, which is nobody's fault, not even the Romans. And like I said, I'm making this for cats, so I'm gonna, because I did not get gloves with me. Anyway, all right. Let cream cheese stand out of the refrigerator for half an hour. I mean, it's been like that. Anyway, when softened, combine with cream cheese with cheddar cheese in mixing bowl. Cream together to obtain spreading consistency. Yes, young man? Yes? What? I gotta grate some cheese now. I know. Very late with super. I'm doing weird shit on the table. Anyway, so yeah, like people decided to watch this train wreck of Amber Lynn Reed's life. And for a long time, the community, like, people even started reaction channels that, you know, would initially focus on Amber Lynn Reed. I am brain farting on the, oh, Michael B. Petty. Yeah, so, like, Michael B. Petty was, watching Amber, and, okay, 1 tablespoon grated cheddar cheese. Okay, so a quarter teaspoon is about 1/10 of an ounce. 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. So, all right, 3/10 of an ounce. Okay, thereabouts. I'm using mild cheddar because cats, I don't know what kind of cheddar they prefer. Anyway, so, so yeah, people decided to, you know, like, take watch of the spectacle that is Amber Lynn Reed's life. Come on. Really? Oh my gosh, this wants a lot of cheese. Anyway, so as the spectacle of Amber's life began unfolding on, you know, live on YouTube, people like Michael B. Petty and Zachary Michael were like 2 of the earliest Amber Lynn Reed, you know, reactors, right? You know, like watching her vlogs and commenting on the weird stuff she does. Sometimes she was genuinely funny, right? Sometimes it's just like, girl, what are you doing? And for the longest time, this was, you know, the reaction channels and the communities that formed around the channels would were called Hater Nation. I think that comes from Foodie Beauty, aka Chantal. Hey, we're at 2/10 of an ounce, and we need to get 1 more 1/10 of an ounce of this cheese. Hey, all right, sweet. That didn't take as long as I was starting to think. All right, so there's a lot of cheese. Okay, what do you want me to do with it next? Remind me. Okay, just combine cream cheese and cheddar cheese in mixing bowl. Cream together to obtain spreading consistency. Did I bring that little spoon I was moving the cooked stuff around it with? No, I did not. Hold on. Be right back. Hey, hon. Oops.
There it is. Sweet. Hey, Phoebe. What you doing, Miss Lady? Uh, so anyway, um, somehow, I was not like I've been watching like Amberlynn Reed reaction content off and on since my surgery in 2017. Um, and yeah, Facebook decided to remind me of that. Like I said, off and on. I'm not sure when or why the well, I know why because okay, Foodie came later. Okay, wait, no, it came from ALR calling her critics haters. Okay. So that was just like based on like Amber's weird ways she says words. Okay. And Foodie Beauty got absorbed into the community after that, and that was due to their similarities. Since then, depending on who you ask, canonical girls may include, but are not limited to, Shanny for Christ. And depends on which reactors you follow too. Oh yeah. Everybody will keep tabs on different girls, right? So depending on who you ask, and depending on the reaction channels, other canonical girls, like everybody agrees that Amber and Chantal are like the duarchy of girl world, right? They were here first, even though like Foodie got absorbed into the mess a bit later, right? So like those are the two, like those are definitely the canonical girls, right? They're the duarchy of girl world. But other canonical girls may include that's an ingredient, Phoebe. You're getting ahead of yourself, Miss Lady. Do you want to say hi to the folks? Like all four of them right now? I'm going to cover that for a moment. Hello. Hey, hon. Hi. Oh, may I? Oh, sweetheart. Hello, Phoebe. Yeah, I put her in a little silly hat for the thumbnail that I updated yesterday. Gosh, how are you? Oh, look at her. 14 motherfucking years old, aren't you? Yes, you are. So anyway, yeah, like other girls may or may not include Anna O'Brien, aka Glitter and Lasers, who is taking a hiatus that that some people are expecting will not last as long as she claims, because the girls never leave. Like there's a few rules of Girl World. I only remember the girls never leave. And I'm brain farting. Okay, so I guess I only remember one of the rules of Girl World. So anyway, spreading consistency. What the hell do you mean by that? Okay. Oh, this looks. That's kind of the consistency of peanut butter, so I guess that counts. Okay. So yeah, like we've got Anna O'Brien, aka Glitter and Lasers, Shanny for Christ, French Fried Girl, who began as a Foodie Beauty reactor, for the most part. She became Girl. Don't Touch the Poo is just kind of a broad lolcow culture law, so don't touch the poo, but that goes to, the audience, right? That goes to the audience, and there is debate on how much reaction channels do or do not, and also because it's a separate, concept, should or should not touch the poo, as they say. At least to my understanding, Oh Lordy, It's Jordy, comes very close, but there's a distinction, as in Jordy lets people come to him, right? And it's always the and it's always been the, quote unquote side characters of Amberlynn Reed who come to Jordy to, just let their side be heard, right? So some people will say that's a distinction without a meaningful difference, and I'm just like, yeah, I get it, but that's also how I, sometimes definitions are debatable, but anyway. So yeah, Shiny for Christ. Um, 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 and oh, Alexandra Rodriguez. I always forget about her because she's mainly TikTok, right? I forget about her because she's mainly TikTok, and like I've seen some stuff about her. Um, she's like trailer trash Kardashian, right? Like that seems to be her thing. Is like, um, uh, oh, oh, rule number 1 is the girls always lie. Okay. Rule number 2, they tell on themselves. Okay, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was also saying, just like in case somebody is, just like listening to this in the background on replay, and cannot read the chat archive. So Foodie came in later. Depends on stuff. Okay, so Shani, the Slayton sisters. Oh yeah, the Slayton sisters are also like kind of in a unique category because they have achieved some amount of mainstream recognition. Same with Anna O'Brien. Like Anna O'Brien is very corporate girl, right? Amy Ramadan, I don't know who that is. Life by Jen, she's the one who passed. Yeah, she's the one who died, right? Glitter and Lasers, Anna O'Brien, Amber. Oh yeah, and of course, Quirky Love Rosie. So yeah, like that's kind of how I got onto this, thing I was saying tonight about how like I don't care if the cats are walking across the food prep because I am making snacks for cats. It's gonna be I'm an elder chore. I know too much more. Oh, of course you do, Yamano. It's help you with. Thanks so much. Like I am not gonna like be like commentating on the girls a lot. My just a reminder for people, like my channel is kind of a mixed bag. It is I am definitely in the sphere of GothTube for a number of reasons. But I have run into a couple people who just like whose Discord did I run into them on? Or was it somebody's chat? I don't remember now, but somebody else was just like, "Wait, you're the Ruadhán who chewed out It's Black Friday, well, in January 2019, right?" I'm like, yeah, why? And the other chatter, I'm starting to think this was in somebody's chat now rather than a Discord. And they're just like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know there were other goths who get a guilty pleasure out of this." And I'm like, I'm also like old as shit, and this like fills the same cultural niche that Springer did, in the 90s. So, so yeah, like predominantly GothTube. It's kind of a mixed bag. Like I'll do album reviews when I do have a radio gig, which I'm thinking of like applying to one of the local FM, like independent FM stations around here. Maybe the AM station in Ipsy, though. Like I know that is like pretty much like volunteer stuff, and but it's like less than a mile from here. I can ride my bike to and back and forth, and like walk in the winter, even though it'd be really annoying too. But okay, cream together, fold in the shrimp. So now I get to pick out 6 little baby shrimp, and I'm going to use this cat grass. Because it calls for 5 or 6 blades of grass, and I think there's another one that wants a little bit of grass. I went out for I'm going to show off Phoebe's presents in a bit, but yeah, like I got all the goodies for the kitties. And again, I'm a very organized person, so that's why I didn't have this, already done. The time I cooked my my homemade coconut pecan frosting for my birthday cake some years ago. I did have everything out, like at least prepped as much as, is considered, a thing for, looking semi-professional, or at least like you're taking this kind of seriously, right? I used to be a little bit more, but on the good side, I'm on new meds. Yes, who's on new meds? Aunt Gail. Yeah, Anyway, so now I get to fish out 6 little baby shrimp and cut them up for you. So yeah, like Quirky Love Rosie. I have so many feelings about Quirky Love Rosie. Now, I kind of feel sorry for Amber. Meds are good for you. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you need meds, which is one of the things I've got, I've got to bitch and whine about Rosie over. Because Rosie loves to pop her Ativan like near, if not absolutely daily. But no, I'm doing this from the YouTube thing, and I don't know how to share a screen from the YouTube thing. So yeah, like I'm just doing this through the YouTube browser. I don't know how to share a screen that way, but Ativan is a benzo. It's a highly controlled benzo. She has admitted on stream that she has not been to, like even a general practitioner in at least 2 years, which was where she got her metformin. And when she got her metformin, that's been sitting around for like 2 years, gathering dust, becoming increasingly more ineffective, because that is one of the meds that you really gotta, that really does have a shelf life. So, all right, wait, that's kind of half a shrimp. All right, 2, 3, 4. It says 5 or 6, right? Come to me, grass. 6 baby shrimp. So, we've got about 4 here. 5. 6. And there's a couple like little pieces here. So there we go. All right. This your regular bumblebee tiny shrimp. All right. So now I get to put a little flake of cheese into the bowl and chop these up with my larger utility knife. Not gonna pull out a chef's knife for shit like this, Rosie. And Rosie, Quirky Love Rosie, is a terrible fucking cook. And I'm gonna swear as much as I want to, because well, there is I have picked up from watching some of the Simon Whistler channels that this is more like crushed than cut up into bite-sized pieces, but whatever. It's being mixed in to this cream cheese ball. Okay. Fold in the shrimp. Okay, so I guess I gotta break this up a little bit to gently fold it in. Ah! All right. This little tiny bits of shrimp getting onto the everything. Okay. So yeah, like Rosie is a really gross cook on a number of levels. First off, the food she makes looks absolutely disgusting, and her choices, because she interprets recipes as more suggestions. So she will like do like the bare minimum to make something happen, and then and I described in somebody's Discord somewhat. I don't know. I've got a terrible sense of time because ADHD, but so yeah, like I've got a terrible sense of time, and so yeah, like I don't know, like within the last several weeks, anyway, that Roz has a very childish sense of cooking. One time I went off in the Discord about how her cooking reminds me of like the time my younger sister and I were like 7 and 8 respectively, and we wanted to make a cottage pie for our Grand Mary's birthday, right? So like cottage pie is like it's shepherd's pie except beef, but in the States they call it all shepherd's pie. But Grand Mary and Tashow, see my old uploaded video where I explain why I speak Welsh. But Tashow is the Cornish. It's the Cornish equivalent of the English granddad. So like one of those like intermediary, like like formal in that it's granddad, right, rather than grampy or something, right? But then it's granddad, which suggests very informal, very familiar, right? So you know, like it's kind of like that, right? Or maybe it is a bit closer to like Grampy or something, right? But it's like it's a more informal, you know, thing in some regions of the Cornish language. So that's what we called him. So yeah, like they were from Grand Mary was from London, Eastender, whole life, 3 generations of no, at least no, she said 5 generations of Cockney factory girls, right? So so yeah, like my younger sister and I were making a cottage pie for Grand Mary's birthday. And at first it started out normal, right? Like our mother cooked the ground beef for us because, when we were like, when we were like as young as 5, well, actually like even before that, right? But like at 5, that's when she that's when I first remember like being allowed to like turn the knobs and like adjust the flame on the gas stove. Like my mother would let me adjust the flame, but for like a number of reasons, including the fact that I've always been short for my age. Um, so yes, I love you. Oh, good. I love the cursed cooking. Oh God. I mean, it is a wonder to behold when you're watching it, right? When you're watching it happen, you're thinking to yourself, like this is, it does have a, very entertaining quality in the way that like old John Waters movies are very entertaining, right? Like it is just so bizarre and weird, and you're wondering why people think like this, right? Except it's not a John Waters movie because those were fiction. This is real life. This is somebody who makes a baked mac and cheese and includes a cup of white granulated sugar. Because I guess she wants to speed run. Like she's already been diagnosed type 2 diabetic. And that's another thing that like I feel sorry for Amber, right? I feel sorry for Amber in a way that I do not feel sorry for Rosie. Amber had an objectively terrible childhood. Um it was objectively terrible. The big problem with Amber though is that she uses that objectively terrible childhood as an excuse to act the way she is, the way she does, right? So it's very frustrating, but I understand and I feel sorry for her. Whereas Rosie, Quirky Love Rosie, she like it triggers like a bizarre sense of anger in me, or at least um, it can be frustration, but not from the same place of pity that I feel for Amber, right? It's a frustration coming from something at least adjacent to anger, right? Like I don't think I will ever crash out over the weird shit Roz does, but it kind of pisses me off in a way. So, and for a number of reasons, she pisses me off. Her cooking, I find, thinking about what Yamano says, I mean, yeah, it is something to behold. It really is. It's like it. There are things that King Cobra JFS did with food that make more sense than the shit Roz does. So let me get back to the cottage pie incident for my grandma's birthday. So my younger sister and I, 7 and 8 years old respectively, the cottage pie starts out normal enough, right? Like mom cooked the ground beef on the skillet for us. So we folded that in with with the mixed vegetable blend. I think it came out of a can, but like you do, when you're a kid in the 80s, and right, like you do when you're a kid in the 80s, because that's just how we did in the 80s, and as children, right? So, anyway, so yeah, like mom, she cooked the ground beef. She okay, it's is it doing the each disc one at a time on shuffle? That's odd. I mean, if that's what it's doing, that's odd. I had to buy the CD component separately for my stereo. It's so I think it's a year younger than the rest of the stereo, but I only picked that up a couple years ago, and I didn't use it at all at the old apartment, so I'm just like figuring out the quirks of this thing. It's something, and of course, like being as old as it is, it will be a great find if I ever found a user's manual. Anyway. So yeah, like my younger sister and I, we're making cottage pie, and it starts out normal. It starts out normal enough. So, like we're folding in the ground beef with the vegetable mix, and mom lets us get into the spice cabinet. So like, she gets out the step stool for me to get into the spice cabinet, and we just grabbed like whatever smelled good to us, which was some stuff that would be perfectly normal in a cottage pie, like in like England, Cornwall, or Wales, right? Like, it would seem pretty normal. Like some onion powder, maybe some sage. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like throwing out, like, I don't remember it that clearly, right? But so like we were picking whatever spices smelled good to us, right? Whatever herbs and spices smelled good to us was going into the cottage pie. And our mother was letting us do this with minimal supervision. She'd come in and check every like 15 to 20 minutes just to make sure we weren't going to burn the kitchen down. But and like check on us, and before we set the oven to like put the like we then mix the mashed potato chop, and then she'd have to put it in the oven for us, right? So she's coming in every 15 to 20 minutes to see if we're ready yet, and making sure we don't do anything stupid, right? Because we're kids, and kids do stupid shit like the cottage pie. At some point, the cottage pie included some kind of jam that oh wait, no, not jam, beets, because my younger sister loved beets, and I still think they taste like dirt, and but we only put that on half, like, right? So we put the beets in half of it and just like balanced it out evenly in the casserole dish before we put it in the oven, right? So like we put beets in half of it. I believe Grandmary, when she tasted that side with the beets that younger sister did, I think our parents and grandparents were all just like, okay, kids, you really thought you did something, huh? And, like that episode of Bob's Burgers where Gene and Louise like make objectively awful hamburgers, because of this little like contest that Linda thought up, right? So, okay. Shape cream cheese and shrimp mixture into half-inch wide balls and set aside. Half-inch wide. Okay, I know, but okay, so I'm gonna be making a bunch of these. Okay, and I'm gonna set them aside on the cap for the hand grater. Okay, because I'm a very organized person. Okay, and I think these are a little bit more than half an inch, but anyway. So then what happens is yeah, so it turned into an objectively awful cottage pie. Like my younger sister did prefer her side with the beets, but like whatever. All right, yeah, like so that is how Quirky Love Rosie cooks. She cooks like a child. Like she'll start out with at least the half of the recipe that makes some semblance of sense. But then she will just like throw whatever the hell sounds like a good idea to her at the time into the rest of it. And there was very recently, and this honestly made me feel sick. Like this honestly made me feel sick to watch. And we were watching a snipe stream by Nikki T. So we were watching this happen in real time. Quirky Love Rosie made this salad dressing, I say in dick quotes, because it looks like a Pepto-Bismol smoothie. Because it's a strawberry vinaigrette, I believe. So yeah, like it's a berry vinaigrette, like whatever. It's I've I've done cold pack pickled strawberries before. I like it. I understand that this is an unusual taste for a lot. This is an unusual thing for a lot of people. But one of the reasons I like it is because like it's something that I kind of grew up with. You know, with uh I think it was Tashao who really liked like pickled fruits. Um, so people think it sounds strange whenever I talk about it, but um I love cold pack pickled strawberries. Right? Like it's just a thing I love. I don't think I'm gonna stop loving it. But so like a vinaigrette, it starts like with oil and vinegar, right? That's what you use extra virgin olive oil for, all of you Rachel Ray fans. Extra virgin says nothing about the quality. Extra virgin is from the first pressing of the olives. So, it's got a more delicate flavor, but it's also got a more distinct flavor, right? Um, whereas and it has a much lower smoke point than regular olive oil. And I've got cream cheese all over my hands because, of course, I do. Back in a minute. Listen to the music. Watch the white wall of doom. Anyway. Hello, Miss Phoebe. Phoebe is sitting in my Art Nouveau chair. She loves it. It was her favorite chair at the old apartment. Well, after the wicker chair. She'll get in the wicker chair too. For everybody who remembers my wicker chair. Oh gosh. I'm gonna love getting back into book reviews again, but I gotta do some stuff with the front room before I do that. Before I do those. Just because I want to do it for my fucking chair. That's where I do my book reviews. That's where I do my book reviews and read public domain stuff over live. It's in the wicker chair. So up. Okay, so I've mixed the balls. Die, Pedward, Quake. Oyster. Hey, I've got exactly 10. 5 for each kitty cat. Hello, Phoebe. I might not make everything on here, but I will give them. Oh, does Phoebe smell something? Oh, does she smell something yummy? Oh my gosh. Here, do you want to lick this? It's your birthday party, honey. Do you want to lick this? You want to lick this? Here. Oh. Not just yet. Not the shrimp ball just yet. Here you go. Lick the bowl, my little lady. Okay. So anyway, yeah, like I said, like Rosie cooks like a child, and then she decides to add some cottage cheese to this strawberry vinaigrette, and I'm like, okay, I've had Greek style vinaigrettes that will have crumbled feta. I guess I can see the sense in that a little bit, but at the same time, I'm not so sure. Given the given the strawberry, I don't remember what herbs or spices she put into it either. I think my brain is trying to protect me from that memory. So where the hell did I put their? Oh, did I leave their dinner plates in the kitchen? I did. Okay. So, mix. There we go. That's why I brought out the second bowl. Mix wheat germ and catnip in small bowl and sprinkle evenly on piece of wax paper. Yeah, I can get out a piece of wax because I got to go back in there for their supper dishes. Nope, don't want to use that for the thing. Okay. So, okay. I'm gonna do the thing with the. Oh wait, no, I need the catnip. That I left that in the kitchen. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so goes Matt. Okay, mix the wheat germ and catnip together in a bowl. So we've got a little bowl here, and we've got wax paper to set down here. And we've got their dinner plates right here. Okay. How much wheat germ did this say? Okay, 1 tablespoon wheat germ and 1 tablespoon catnip. So, the catnip that I picked up, because it's Phoebe's birthday party. All right. She is 14 years old, so I got the Meowawana catnip potty mix. Okay, so this is okay, 6 all-natural herbs and North American catnip. So that's the social media stuff. Okay, hybrid blend with valerian root and wait, no. Wait, is that? Okay, yeah, valerian root and silver vine, chamomile and passion flower, lavender and dandelion leaf, and North American catnip. Okay. Oh, yeah, they're getting the good stuff. Okay, so, okay. This is, it's not that bright in here for me. I mean, the light looks fine in the video playback on me. So, okay, half a teaspoon. So, okay, so for 1 tablespoon, that's going to be 6 of these. Okay. All right. Die. Tree. Pump. Okay. Oh. Phoebe can get really bossy about catnip. Hello, Brân. Oh, you smell it? Do you smell it? And let me use a different half teaspoon. Okay. Oh, there we go. That's broken the vacuum. Do I have to put this in the fridge after I break the vacuum on it, or does this boost your food with plant protein, vitamins, and minerals, and a nutty crunch? For more recipe information. Okay. Hold on. This product does not use ingredients that were produced using genetic engineering. Contains wheat. We've got wheat germ, vitamin E. Up. Uh-oh. Are you going to get in trouble? You're going to get yourself in trouble, little mister? Okay, this is nothing about refrigerating after opening, so, which is what you got to do with yeast. All right, so, tree, pedwar, pump. Okay, so I'll just put this back in the cabinet. Never used it before, at least, in my own recipes. So, there we go. Mix it all together. Mixture. All right. Okay, and then it says to spread out onto the waxed paper. Going away. Let me see something. Okay, this is gonna be because all right, that puck light was doing nothing anyway. So such organization. All right, let's tip up the. All right. Hold on. There we go. All right. This is. There we go. All right. And now like you do with the cheese and nut balls for your holiday parties. Gonna roll this around, and since there are exactly 10, that means each little kitty cat gets 5. So we've got in, plot, die. All right. There we go. There we go. See, this is what you do when you take recipes on live streams seriously. You know, like even if you just have to like jimmy stuff around a little bit, you show the actual fucking food raws. Here we go. We've got another one rolling around, shrimp and cream cheese with a little bit of cheddar, rolled around in. Hello. Why? Oh, you smell it, don't you, Brân? Oh, are you going to get in trouble? Are you going to get yourself in trouble? Are you getting yourself in trouble, young man? Come to me, little man. Come to me, my young man. Oh, my gosh. Oh, shit. Oh, my gosh. All right. Oh, dear. That was, young man, do you realize what you've done? Okay. It's just, all right, I just got to pick up the rest of the measuring spoons that got knocked out, but there have been times I've done this, without any cameras around, thankfully, where it ended up so much worse. So, anyway, and I know why he does this. I know why, and I was just trying to move him, but of course, like, Kitty had other plans. He's gonna destroy the world with, all right, let's spread this out a little bit more. Okay, yep, we've got a little bit more here. If I think we're gonna be running low. Oh, nope, we gotta roll it. There we go. So yeah, like when you take recipe stuff seriously and it's not covert eater fey, edish fey content, you show the damn food raws. And you do not put a vinaigrette with cottage cheese in it somehow into a blender, because like that was now a slurry. That is a slurry. It looks absolutely disgusting. Rosalind says it tastes amazing, but like, oh God, I would not like. I'm sure that if you put like the contents of the other autism faker, Andy Ditch's, soiled Depends into a chocolate cake and just like baked it into the batter, right? I'm sure if you don't tell Roz what's in it, she'd think it tastes great because she does Eater Fey, Edish Fey content. She's just doing it on YouTube under us, generally PG-13 standards. It's really gross. I like, even before Tiny Blue Anthologist said that she had just like did for research purposes only. She was looking up some the Eater Fey, Edish Fey content that certain big girl models were doing and putting onto Twitter. And yeah, Roz does this. I was pretty certain that's what she was doing, about it as well, because I was very briefly a pro dom, and yes, I am like the only drag queen in Central and Southeast Michigan who does not perform in heels because I'm physically incapable of walking in them. But and here we go. We've got shrimp balls, shrimp cream cheese balls. There we go. That's in the camera site. Yep. All right. So yeah, like I just like out of morbid curiosity, and plus the one I refer to as Best X, he is he finds the directions that human sexuality can like pivot into. You know, he finds this like one of the most pure forms of unintentional humor. Okay. That's certainly a thing that you're welcome to feel, I suppose. So so but yeah, like Roz definitely does this. She knows what she's doing, and by saying that it's not what she's doing, she is lying to her audience faces. At least the ones who are naive enough to believe her. Anyway, uh hold on a bit. Hey, Cathode! I'm so super! Hello, Miss Lady. I'm so super, Miss Phoebe. I'm so super, Brân. Hey, hon. Hi. Of course I forgive you for destroying the universe. Hello. Hey, Miss Phoebe. Here we go. Really? 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 You do not want? Okay. Well, let me try something else then, I guess. That's why I picked out 4 recipes. All right, Phoebe is uninterested, but Brân is. I should make a note of that for next year. For her quinceañera. Okay. Wait, Yamano, I am bad Asian and I can't do it. Wait, you're Asian? Okay. I was unaware. I just assumed you're I gotta make a note for next, real quick. Hold on. No, I'm not gonna do it on my thing. Where are my pens? Oh my gosh. Okay, and I will just okay. And I will just real quick I'm gonna okay, you know what? I am going to do it this way. I'm going to go to somebody's Discord. Wait, no. No, that's a stupid idea because I have cats and they might hit the thing. Oh crap! How am I going to do this? I don't know. I will. Okay, Phoebe's gone back to the mixing bowl. She does not know what to do with them in balls. Phoebe's having a koala moment, I guess, because for those unaware, koalas, if you if you take the eucalyptus leaves, that is like near 100% of their diet. If you take the leaves and put them on a plate, koalas will not recognize it as food. Like it has to be like on the branch, on the tree, for them to recognize it as food. So okay, Phoebe does not recognize the shrimp balls in ball form as food, but she is happily going after the cream cheese with little bits of shrimp in it. Okay, what was the other one that I picked out? Let's see if that one is any better. Okay, the next one down is sardines and greens. Oh my gosh, please. Okay. Oh, here we go. Sardines and greens, 2 servings. A perfect choice for the good kitty with a bad case of canned cat food blues. Okay. So 2 canned sardines, drained, cut into bite-sized pieces. I'm assuming 2 individual sardines, but it's like it says drained, so that would imply 2 cans of sardines, but it's like, this is a can of sardines. Well, I'm sure each cat would just love a whole one all to themselves. I'm like, no, I know how these are working. Okay. 2 sardines. Okay, 1 sliced cucumber and 1 fresh leaf spinach broken up. All right, and So it's like it gives presentation tips on some of the recipes too. It says center white doily on party plate. Place bed of spinach on doily and arrange sardines in circular formation on greens. Garnish in center of sardine ring. Place cucumber. Sprinkle with peanuts. Serve immediately. Okay. So I could have done this the first time. All right. Let me see if Brân has finished his jobbies. Okay. All right. Neither of them finished them. Brân decided to cover his up with the with some of Plastic Bag Mountain that I need to process into Plarn. So yeah, like there's Plastic Bag Mountain that was yeah, like because chronic depression is a bitch. So yeah, like that's why there's Plastic Bag Mountain. I do intend this weekend, probably gonna do it while I go to the laundromat. Um, I'm not going to put a paper doily on these because one, I don't have a paper doily. That's stupid. And two, why the fuck, right? It's like, okay, like I get that presentation is cool sometimes, but it's like, really, really, okay. So, all right, I'll just like save the catnip with wheat germ in it, and like I don't know, maybe sprinkle it onto tomorrow's super. Okay, so the can of sardines. Now, another thing that I've been thinking of doing for for an upload is a review of like several brands. Ah! The ring fell off. The ring popped off. Okay, I've done this before. It might have been this brand of sardines as well. But yeah, like I've got various brands of sardines in mustard. I like sardines in mustard. I don't think that's something I picked up from, you know, a parent or grandparent in particular. I just know that like, my grandparents from England and Cornwall, and on my dad's side they were from Northern Ireland. Um, like fish, including tins of fish, was definitely a thing that was all over, that was like a regular staple of the home, and foods. All right. So, I think this is the whole one. Okay. Okay. These are, oh, wait. Yeah, these are a little bit on the big side. So, okay. All right. Oh, these are so oily. These are so oily. But yeah, like I'm thinking of uploading a food review of my quest. Like it's like maybe a series of like little shorts of a quest for the perfect or at least the best canned sardines in mustard, because I love mustard. So okay, now it wants me to break up pieces of the spinach. There we go. A little bit of spinach. So I'm gonna like score the leaf down halfway, so like one for each plate. All right. All right. Now, because I'd originally intended to do this on Sunday, I got a cucumber for this because it calls for cucumber. But the cucumber had apparently seen better days before I purchased it. So the cucumber did not survive. But what did survive was the sushi plate from Kroger that I got like yesterday with the intent of having tonight. And I will still have it tonight, but it's going to be without the pieces of cucumber. So it's like I went and I like poked the pieces of cucumber out of each piece of sushi because, damn it, I'm gonna make this goddamn recipe for my cats. Like this is a concept that like Amber and you know, like, oh, if she had any pets, thankfully she does not. Rosie just would not understand because, you know, like their food addictions are that fucking bad. Is like, you know, like I am sure, like despite what Amber would try to say that, like, oh no, I'd do the same thing, Ro. I would definitely like, you know, poke the pieces of cucumber out of the sushi for my cat. Like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, Amber. We all know this. We all know you wouldn't. Okay, it is a pile. It is. There we go. It is a pile. How am I going to make this a ring? Like this, I guess? All right. All right, here we go. Presentation time. And the spinach is completely covered by the mess of sardines. And we get some of the cucumber from my sushi. And like the best thing about this is that like the sushi, the cucumber that I poked out of my little pieces of sushi, like some of them still have like little bits of, you know, like imitation crab stuck to them. Oh my gosh. I do so much for these cats. Okay. Okay, and then we want to garnish in center of sardine ring, place cucumber, and sprinkle with peanuts. Okay, all right. So, I crunched up. I've got a vintage nut cruncher or nut crusher. I can't see anything else this thing would be used for. So, you know, like I will crush like small amounts of nuts in them, like to like this tiny like granular size, you know, in that. So, okay, we've got this one garnished with some peanuts, and now I get to fuck around with this other one in this on this all right, gonna tear up some spinach, the other half of the leaf. Oh, Phoebe's on top of the cat tower right now. If I had a good way to turn the laptop around and show you, I would, but I've disrupted enough stuff on here already. So, okay, we're gonna put this aside here, and then we get out the knife that I've been using for everything else so far. But again, like, this is for my kitties. This is for my kitty cats. They won't mind. It's not like I'm sticking a used thing back, you know, like a used spoon into like a like the cream cheese, right? It's not like I like cut up, you know, all the sardines and then like stuck the thing into the cream cheese, right? Oh, I think that was only like half a one. These ones are really, really like, they're an olive oil and they're kind of mushy. So, don't judge me. All right, all right, there we go. Yeah, like they've kind of gotten all mushy, and one of the other brands that I can find locally, they're a lot more firm than this when you take them out of the can. So I don't know if it's I don't know if that's a deal with like this, what is this, Beach Cliff, tinned fish, or if it's just like the oil. I don't know. It's been a while. So yeah, like, hopefully if I can get the motivation on, you know, any day, this summer, I will probably be doing a series of shorts, you know, where I just like talk about my quest for the perfect tin of sardines in mustard. Because what? Because screw you, that's why. Like, I am perfectly okay with wait. Sardines are good. Oh yeah. I love sardines. I found a can of smoked kippers at Kroger. And that reminds me, okay, like, Quirky Love Rosie, aka Rosie Lynn Ditch, because like she is really gearing up to be Amber Lynn Reed 2.0. But I also say Ditch because reference to Andy Ditch Now, why am I comparing her to Andy Ditch? Because both of those fuckers are autism fakers. Like, and Roz is like, Roz, I would say, is far more egregiously a faker than Andrew Ditch. Like, I've heard there was an interview with Andy Ditch's dad where his dad mentioned that, like, okay, Andy was in an accident while he was riding his bike and he got hit by a car. And so his dad thinks that there is some like brain damage that, took a couple of years to surface, because that's how brain damage works sometimes. Like, sometimes you can seem fine for years, but then, like, and it is definitely due to like whatever caused the brain damage, right? So all right, so we get some little cucumber in here in the center, and then we sprinkle on some nutty goodness, some peanutty goodness. I'm gonna add like a little pinch of the catnip and wheat germ mix too, and onto this one. Hey, custard! Whoop, don't fall on me. I'm so super. I'm so super. Oh, hey, you. Hello, Miss Phoebe. Oh, does this one smell better? Hello, you, Brân. Oh, Phoebe's loving this one. Phoebe's loving this one, and of course, hold on, and... Okay, so it's so I am with Andy Ditch's father that this may be related to some brain damage after Andy Ditch was in the got hit by a car while he was on his bike. Okay, like that happens. Now, he's an autism faker because he's been examined by several professionals who all say the same thing, who all give him the diagnosis of not autistic. I know one said that Andy Ditch, seems to have a rather mild case of schizoaffective disorder, where like, and I say rather mild because, oh yeah, Dessa says that too. Wait, I'm not sure who Dessa is, and I forgot what it was I said about. Or is this about Andy Ditch and the potential brain damage? Because like I think like whatever the hell is up, like there's definitely okay, yes, yeah. So like I'm with that, like hypothesis that Andy Ditch acts the way he does because like brain damage just took some years to surface. Decimated. Okay, Diary of a Recovering Fatty. Okay, I will check them out because I don't think I've seen anything from them before. So like I think so like Andy Ditch has somehow convinced himself that he's autistic when he's just like he's they're my dean to so yeah, like like clearly Andy Ditch thinks he's autistic, okay? Like, which okay, even though there are several professionals who say, who give him the diagnosis of not autistic. At least one of these professionals said, I think it's a mild case of schizoaffective disorder. That's like, and I say mild because, according to Ditch anyway, he doesn't have any hallucinations, but he does have a distorted sense of reality that doesn't line up with the rest of the world. So like that is where he's got his schizoaffective disorder. Like that's, like that's kind of like how his schizoaffective disorder manifests, and it may be related to brain damage, right? And and just because of like how brain damage can sometimes take years to surface, like those guys who were like wrestlers or professional boxers, and like they retire and they seem fine when they retire, but then like it can take sometimes years for the brain damage to manifest. And like that's what happens like when you take so many blows to the head like in a boxing ring or wrestling ring, right? So yeah, like that's probably what the hell Andy Ditch's deal is. That said, that said, Andy Ditch is the only one of the major lolcow spectacles of the internet whose voice kind of frightens my cats. I think I've mentioned this on stream before, but if I did, it was like like a couple years ago, probably after the fire. But it's like, yeah, like when the cats, like I could be watching any installment, any episode of the Kusari documentary on Daniel Larson, and like there's several times in each chapter of the Kusari documentary on Daniel Larson where Daniel Larson, as I put it, can be shrieking like a microcephalic howler monkey, right? And it's okay to refer to Daniel Larson as a howler monkey because he's white. Okay, that was a bad joke, but yeah, like so yeah, like Daniel Larson can be screaming like a microcephalic howler monkey, and my cats are fine. Like they're just like maybe if they're sleeping and suddenly there's the clip where Danderson is like losing his shit at the Panera, and so like if the cats are asleep and suddenly that comes on, like one of them may startle awake for a second, then just realize, oh yeah, never mind, Daddy's watching his weird show about weird people. But Andy Ditch, like the second Andy Ditch start screaming, "You're abusing me! You're abusing me! I'm pooping myself!" Like the cats are just like, there's a disturbance in the force. So like it's been a joke that like my cats can sense evil, and that evil is Andrew Ditch. Because like just because he's got some brain damage that has affected the way he interacts with the world, he still has to interact with the world. So like, and the price you pay for interacting with the world, like you got to pay to play, and what you're paid to play with the rest of the world is you got to act right. You got to act right. And this is where I say, like, Quirky Love Rosie is a far more egregious autism faker than Andrew Ditch. And she will not only fake, she will not only fake claim autism, which, if somebody's watching and they are, from like my two regulars, so they're familiar with, me and stuff I tend to, talk about and stuff. But this is your first time learning about Quirky Love Rosie. Okay, first off, I do have some very nuanced opinions about some stuff, and one of those is like fake claiming, which is like calling out like whatever. Oh hey, Trash Panda, hi, yeah, the cats, like Brân has been on screen more than Phoebe, which is to be expected. I started making one recipe for the cats, so now I have like all of these cream cheese shrimp balls left over that they do not recognize as food, at least not in ball form. These should keep in the fridge for a couple days because it's cheese and pre-cooked shrimp out of a can, and it's rolled around in catnip and a little bit of wheat germ. So they should keep in the fridge, and I'll just like offer them to the cats like broken up. I'll just like work it up that way for them. See if they'll eat it then. And I was only planning to do 2 hours tonight, so I'm not going to do the other two recipes. Looking at the portions that came out of the sardines and greens, that was in the area of about how much canned cat food I give them every night. So I got a little like I got a little bit like excited about making homemade cat treats for Phoebe and Brân. So yeah, like my punishment is like now I've got like the rest of a thing of asparagus and green beans that I only got for like I got a small amount of each, right? Like maybe a quarter pound of each, right? So it's like on the good like the asparagus has seen better days. I'm gonna cook up the rest pretty well for myself tonight after I log this off. And I'm gonna do the green beans with something tomorrow. Um, just because I don't like to waste food. And like I know that people were saying in in one of the lives today talking about Quirky Love Rosie, I think it was Scar, that somebody said like the sniff test is not the sniff test is not reliable for human consumption. If so, it's um like yeah, I understand that. I look, like if something looks like it's about to turn on me, I will, like look it over thoroughly, sniff it, and when it's fruit and vegetables, I will then run it under some cold water to see if it changes any, and then just like this is one of the reasons that I will that I use freezer tape. And I mean, it's called freezer tape because it will the adhesive won't give out in cold temperatures, right? So it's like a masking tape, but it's got like a good glue that will keep it on leftovers in the fridge. So yeah, like, and then I'll get a China marker or a Sharpie, whichever is a bit. I prefer grease pencils, aka China markers. I prefer those in part because I do not like the fumes on the standard size Sharpies. And I don't like the idea of, because like when it's something that I'm putting in the fridge, I don't like the idea of like any residual fumes from the Sharpie that are on there first time, sticking it in the fridge. That like I'll do the freezer tape and a Sharpie for something that's going to go in the freezer. Like if I'm pre-making like bowls of chili, right? If I make a gallon thing of chili and I want to like freeze it up in like little round containers so that I've got like, some stuff that I can easily just like tap back into the pan, add a little bit of water and like, melt it out and cook it up, right? So if I want to do like pre-cooked chili and put it in the freezer, I will trust a Sharpie in the freezer before I'll trust a Sharpie in the fridge. I don't know if there's any science to that. I think that's a weird little habit I picked up from my mother. So like, that's why I date my leftovers. Most stuff, as long as it's cooked, will be fine within 10 to 14 days. I know a lot of people will say a week. I don't know if I'm going on outdated information, but I do say most things. It's like, so that's why I date them. That's why I write the date on the freezer tape, right? So that I know how long it's been in there as leftovers. And I should probably get in the habit of doing that with fresh produce too. That is a good idea, right? So like I'll pick up a new box of grease pencils this coming week. And yeah, new box of grease pencils, and should be okay on freezer tape for right now. But yeah, and so yeah, like that's a great idea. I think I'll start dating my fresh produce so that I know like, and like most fresh produce, you're lucky to get a week. Fair. So so yeah, like I don't know, like that's just like how I'll that's a great idea. So yeah, like yeah, Quirky Love Rosie. She's just like I say she's an egregious autism because like she's been seen by professionals. She was diagnosed with ADHD in childhood. That has been confirmed with an adult screening as well. And she was a kid in the 1990s. She was born in 1991, so I'm a little over a decade her senior. So I don't think like, of course, autism was treated very differently in the 80s. Like you were only diagnosed with autism if you were like, like Rain Man to, like the non-vocal types who would just like sit for hours rocking in place, and it's kind of like, and I don't mean that to like mock anybody. I'm just saying like that's what would get like diagnosed as autistic in the 80s. The term Asperger's syndrome was actually coined by a woman. I think she's a psychologist, and I think she was like told by her pediatrician that her daughter was like on the borderline of HFA, which, like I said, like in the 80s, the standard for HFA, which has confused a lot of people who document Chris Chan these days, right? Like Asperger's syndrome was a term coined in 1982 by a woman. I believe she's a psychologist. I know it was to relate to her daughter. Like she was looking into some of the research Hans Asperger was doing, and there are good reasons. He's a very controversial figure, but do not trust Rosie on what she says those reasons are. Why? Because Rosie lies. She will just make shit up. She claims that there are no resources for autistic adults, especially if you were diagnosed late. And it took me less than a minute to find resources in Florida with the Florida Autism Society, or Autism Society of Florida, whatever. I don't know. It's their website, right? And like they do like little like workshop classes and offer other assistant type resources for adults with autism, regardless of the age you were diagnosed. So when Quirky Love Rosie says that, and she did take down her autism diagnosis journey 4-part series video, but Nikki T, Nikiteea, for anybody unfamiliar or or unaware. So yeah, like Nikki T's got them up on and archived all 4 parts of that, and it is very telling about like Rosie's character just to watch that 4-part series, where the final one comes out and she says, so the doctor says, like, I've got symptoms of autism, but I'm not autistic enough. And I was like, yeah, probably because you browbeat him into, just like a rephrase on what he said, what he probably said, which was that like everybody, has some amount of traits that are commonly associated with being autistic, but just having a couple of those traits or habits or whatever, like I saw a YouTube short somebody shared in, I believe, Charlie Gold's Discord about it was a YouTube short about like everybody does some amount of stimming, right? And that is and that is defined by the video as like a self-soothing fidgeting kind of habit when you're feeling nervous or anxious. And I'm like, one thing that I often do when I'm out and about is, like I will, because especially in the summer months, I even when I was at my lowest, and healthiest adult weight, I sweat like a pig over nothing. I'm still like too fat for my height. I'm working on it. Honestly, I am. It's like I said, like chronic depression's a bitch. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm saying that explains why I've just been lacking in the motivation to actually do what I know I need to do to, take care of my weight loss. It's like, no, I'm not asking for you to, excuse me for that when I mentioned this. I'm just saying like, it is what it is. And I will work on my weight when I can get the chronic depression back under control. Or at least I can work on it more seriously. Right. So yeah, like everybody does. And like people with ADHD are like, it's called attention deficit hyperactive disorder. People misunderstand the hyperactive part as like, I've seen people interpret it as having like, like little bursts of like, what could be considered like borderline hypomanic. That's one of Rosie's new words she's learned lately, which like, contradicts like a number of things she's said, when she says now that she's been in a hypomanic episode, right? So like people misunderstand the hyperactive in ADHD as like being like, like borderline hypomanic, I guess, right? That's what a lot of people think. And it's not. It can mean like the hyperactive part of ADHD could just mean that you are hardcore prone to fidgeting for whatever reason, like even just boredom, right? And it's also um Miss Rosie also incorrectly said that the two types of ADHD, because it's now like been so in the 80s when I was a kid it was like ADD and ADHD being like similar but distinct, right? So now it's been consolidated like autism spectrum disorder. It's been consolidated into a spectrum. So there's ADHD, predominantly hyperactive, ADHD, predominantly not impulsive, but inattentive, because it's attention deficit, right? So the impulsivity is part of the hyperactive, right? So yeah, Miss Rosie and I are both ADHD mixed types. So, it's like the hyperactive is part of the impulsivity control, or like the impulsivity control is part of the hyperactive part of ADHD, right? So yeah, the other part is inattentive, and that because she was shooting that part in her car, like fresh out. I think it was in the car, like fresh out of like the screening or something. Like I'll give her that she wasn't thinking things through or whatever. This, like the impulsive, kinds of thoughts where she's not like rechecking the information before she says it, right? So yeah, it's like predominantly hyperactive, predominantly inattentive, or mixed presentation. And I'm mixed presentation, which, like I said, it means that I fidget a lot. It means that I've got issues with impulse control, but yeah, I'm on new beds. I'm on yeah, and I haven't been doing the med vlogs like I like I initially said I was thinking of getting back into, just because we have been tinkering around with my meds a little bit, and I know, oh gosh, I wonder if she's still vlogging Creepy Corners, like way back like 2018ish, 2018 19ish, when I was first doing YouTube regularly. She once said that she's amazed at my ability to multitask while I'm talking about whatever. And I'm just like, I guess, I mean, it's, as far as I know, it's part of the ADHD in my brain, right? So it's like, I mean, sometimes it can be, like sometimes it can seem like vaguely superpower-esque, like when you want to like, talk and do stuff at the same time. But, so yeah, it's like, but, yeah, like, so yeah, like Roz's final, autism screening that she had, she was told, yeah, you do have a lot of symptoms, but, well, and this is another thing. So it's like, Asperger's syndrome, was, the term was coined in the 80s, in 1982. Later in the 80s, it was like an experimental, unofficial diagnosis. And that's what Dan Aykroyd was diagnosed with, I want to say mid to late 80s. So it's like, and he was like one of the first celebrities to, say, hey, I've got this. And it's kind of like autism, but, like not to the extent, like, but not to like, like the Rain Man extent. Because, like it was, I mean, it's still a good movie. I understand the autistic community's issues, especially with the choice to not have an autistic actor, but I'm just like, yeah, but what are you gonna do about it now? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, but it was a like Dustin Hoffman as Ray Babbitt, who is nicknamed Rain Man because Raymond Babbitt, right? And Tom Cruise is the little brother and well, younger brother, right? So yeah, like one of the there were two real life people. One was Kim Peek, he's the one who's usually like, or well, he's since passed away, but he was the one who would be introduced as the original Rain Man, because he was a major influence on writing the character, or in like writing about the character and in the script. But there was another guy who was another influence on the character, on the writing process, right? I think he worked as a custodian in a place. I don't know. I know he did like some kind of service work and just like befriended one of the writers of the Rain Man script. So yeah, like Dustin Hoffman at least like made an arrangement with Kim Peek, and his father, who was Kim Peek's guardian. Kim Peek is a savant, and after he passed, the autopsy, they did look at just like some they did get permission from his dad to like do some like post-mortem exploration of his brain, and like the two hemispheres in his brain weren't connected. Like this, that's sometimes done surgically for very rare reasons, but it's not been noticed before to have occurred naturally. So like he was born with like the two halves of his brain not physically connected. So like both were so like this probably contributed to his ability to read a book both pages at a time, right? And somehow in his brain that would like process the information in both pages, or like the story on each side of the page, and just like fit it together, right? So so yeah, like he was a savant, and because of the structural abnormality to his brain, it's debatable whether or not he was like autistic in the sense that how it's usually diagnosed, right? So there is some debate about whether or not he would be considered autistic just due to the structural abnormality in his brain that like was in essence a birth defect, but it also did amazing it also did some amazing things for him. So but yeah, like Dustin Hoffman studied Kim Peek, and and talked with his Peek's dad, the who was his caretaker, because he did need somebody looking after him, right? So so I think he did the portrayal as sensitively as possible. I do think that, and like I said, I understand the complaints, I understand the issues cited by the autistic community, but at the same time, it's like the movie was made in 1987. It is what it is, and it may not be an ideal portrayal, but especially by 2020's standards, but for the 1980s, like it was like, for the 1980s, like this was the first time somebody saw a character like that on the big screen. So could it have been done better? Maybe. But like I said, at the end of the day, I do think it's done pretty well. And you are free to disagree. I'm not gonna argue about it if you're gonna disagree, but whatever. So yeah, like Asperger's, and another one which was called pervasive developmental disorder. Pervasive developmental disorder, yeah. PDD, another kind of PDD. This because Quirky Love Rosie's been talking about the persistent depressive disorder, right? As being different from major depressive disorder, right? So I'm gonna mush this one up and offer it to Phoebe in pieces when we take the laptop back to the bedroom. Anyway, so pervasive developmental disorder and Asperger's were consolidated into the autism spectrum disorder. Now it's been speculated for a while, and further psychological case studies have with psychologists and stuff have decided that like a lot of the times if a kid was diagnosed in the 80s, so like these diagnoses came later, right? In the 80s, and so it's been said that like pervasive developmental disorder, a lot of the symptoms are similar to but distinct from Asperger's, but other symptoms of PDD are trauma related. So by old standards, by standards of like the late 80s through mid-noughts, like whenever before the DSM came out with the 5th edition that consolidated consolidated them into autism spectrum disorder, right? So Roz was told, by the professional who screened her, yes, you do have some symptoms associated with autism, but a lot of others, could just as easily be explained as trauma, as coming from, the trauma in her childhood, which she says included CSA and a Mormon upbringing, which, if I know from a couple of my Mormon exes that a lot of really heinous shit likes to get covered up within the Mormon church, right? So, and well, it was COCSA, so COCSA, right? Look up that acronym if, because YouTube, and I would like the stream to stay a little bit monetized because it's only going to be 2 hours, right? Like a feature-length film thereabouts. So, yeah, like Rosie claims, a COCSA experience. And, yeah, that can be traumatic. Now, the reason I specify that she claims this, whereas like I normally wouldn't question it, is because she's been a little bit inconsistent on some things. Not as inconsistent as Amber's claim of CSA that may or may not have included COCSA. But I do believe something on that level happened to Amber, just given the kind of childhood she had. But damned if she's ever going to tell anybody exactly what happened. And to an extent, I think Amber's starting to believe her own bullshit too, which it's like I said, I feel sorry for her in ways that I don't feel sorry for Rosie. Rosie grew up very privileged, like she and Anna O'Brien. In fact, Anna O'Brien grew up even wealthier than Quirky Love Rosie. And like I said, Rosie grew up, pretty solidly middle class, income. Her father now has a relatively high paying job, I'm assuming, in Norway. So her parents live in Norway most of the year. Her mother comes out a couple times a year for several weeks at a time. I think it's for tax purposes related to the house. Some people have speculated, oh, well, her mom comes out there to preserve citizenship. And I'm like, bitch, that's not how it works. Yes, you can renounce your citizenship, but you have to pay a fee to do that. Look it up. You have to pay to do that. It's a whole process. So, and if you were born in the U.S., you are an American citizen. If you're born in the U.S., if you have a U.S. birth certificate, you are, for all intents and purposes, a U.S. citizen. So even if you live the rest of your life in a different country, if you move to, if you're born in Ohio and you move to Germany when you're 20 and you stay in Germany for the rest of your life, though why you would, since you'd still owe U.S. federal income tax. Yes, they do that to U.S. citizens living abroad. Even if you live and work for the entire year in a different country, you still owe U.S. federal income tax. The United States is one of very few countries that do that. So yeah, they're just yeah, of course you worked in a different country, but you still owe us money because America. So that's another thing is why I am certain her parents have more money than Rosie likes to let on, because she wants to paint herself as this little tragic, delicate, dainty girl when she's not. She grew up rather privileged because it's been a few years that her parents have lived, her dad full time and her mother most of the year in Norway, which means since they both have jobs in Norway, they are paying double income tax. First income tax to Norway and a second income tax to the US federal IRS, they can afford to be American citizens living in Norway. We have heard nothing from Rosie or her parents when they occasionally pop in on stream, either like her mother when she's visiting, or her, either of them if they're in chat when she's live streaming, right? So, like neither of them have said anything about like, renouncing their US citizenship and paying like, like the nice little fine you have to do that. So yeah, like her mother comes down a couple of times a year to spend several weeks in the house. I am convinced it's for tax purposes. Like, because the people who say, well, it's to retain citizenship. No, it's not. That's not how it works, honey. It's got nothing to do with citizenship. It's about taxes. It's the only explanation that makes any sense. Is like, my guess is that since now their names, like her parents' names are the only names on the deed. For a while, her brother was also on the deed. Rosie's never been on the deed to the house. But since both her parents' names on the deed, my guess is at least one of them has to be living in the house for a certain percentage of the year, which would explain why her mom comes out a couple times a year for several weeks at a time. My guess is that if she's not doing that, then the house has to be registered as a rental property, which means they'd owe more income tax, as a rental property, even though it's Levi, Rosie's brother, who's the only one paying towards the mortgage. So, and my guess is they took his name off the deed for tax purposes. So yeah, no, this has nothing to do with citizenship. It's tax purposes. It's literally the only explanation that makes any sense. Unless you can find a legit better one and show me where it says that, because no. But yeah, so yeah, I got to make a couple of recipes for the cats. They only liked one of them. I'm hoping I could at least coax Phoebe into eating these little shrimp cream cheese balls that I rolled in catnip for her. So it's I don't want to. I mean, catnip is perfectly safe for humans to eat. You can make tea from it and drink the catnip tea. It's good for some things that according to herbalists anyway. It's at the same time, it's I don't want to eat a catnip ball. So yeah, I'll see if Phoebe wants to have some of these later. Oh, but I was going to show off the new toys I got for them. I don't know, I was kind of making my excitement for Phoebe's birthday stream. I don't know, I got way too excited about really stupid shit. So I got way too excited about stupid shit that I wasn't sure I'd be able to follow through on, but I stuck to a, modest plan. Unlike Rosie. And it's I've known before from streaming that it's best to come in with some kind of plan, even if you just wing it. Don't come in semi-scripted. You're allowed to wing it. So this is one of those things that I saw in an Instagram ad. Excuse me. It was one of those things I saw in an Instagram ad. Oh, we're giving away these things for free. You just pay shipping. And at the same time, it's they also charge you $5 for the little things inside that move around, right? So this is one of those, you fill it with water and it's a play mat for kitty cats. And I thought this would be a good idea for Brân to maybe have something to do because he's insane. But it smells very strongly of latex and other plastics. So I get to handle this very little. So I'm probably only going to bring it out a couple times a month. But I want to wash it before I let the cats play with it, just because, like I said, it's got that plasticky smell. So it's yeah, they when you go to the cart, it says free for the mat itself, but then it says it wants you to pay $5 for the little these feel like foam, the little jobbies that move around once you put the water in it, and it's they charge you $5 for that. So I'm it doesn't know it's $5 because they're inside the thing. What else? Dude, seriously. But anyway, it was $5 plus I want to say 12 or so shipping. So it's that can be that's perfectly reasonable. $20 cat toy. I also got another kind of meowana, which is the catnip buds. And this is how like they dry the catnip buds variety of the Meowawana. They know exactly who their audience is like people who at least appreciate stoner humor, even if you yourself are not a stoner. And I do appreciate stoner humor. I'll admit that like Tommy Chong is funny as shit. Oh my god, look at this. Look at this. Like they dry it, they like I mean they do have like they did leave like some of the flowering bits on and just like they but they like kind of like crinkled up the flowers so that they would like dry in a shape. It's like they know what they're doing. This is funny. This is like the funniest catnip brand, and they've got and the cats love it. The cats love it. And okay, so here's another water toy that I picked up. So like why did I get toys that I thought Brân would enjoy? Even though we're celebrating Phoebe's birthday. I'm doing this because Brân is he's gonna be 3 this August, and he is an insane little bug. He's an insane little peanut. He is like so he gets to come out and do chores with me, ideally once or twice a week. But I don't always like leave in time to like get enough done. And trying to like chase down a cat who kind of like puts up with the carrier once we're out, once we're out and doing stuff, right? So like, he'll put up with it. He likes to like stare judgingly at people that he doesn't know, right? But so it's like, yeah, I'm getting toys that I think Brân will enjoy because Phoebe likes to take a break. She is 14 years old. She is a distinguished lady of a fine age. So she likes to take a break every once in a while, right? So I'm kind of hoping Brân would be like entertained by this. Oh, the fish lights up somehow. Okay, so yeah, like there's 2 of the little things. The fish lights up, the turtle floats, and like basically, like, do they have a picture on here? I know they have a picture on the Petco website, but yeah, like fill it with water up to hereabouts, I think, and up to like hereabouts. I want to say it's recommended just under here. It says do not fill above water line, but it does not define the water line clearly. So my guess is like, probably like just up to here. Drop the toys in, and it'll and so like the fish, it's got like some kind of mechanical shit inside, so it'll like move around just under the surface of the water with the tail flapping and lighting up. So hopefully that will keep Brân entertained enough to leave Phoebe the hell alone, on the days where he's not feeling so into the spinny thing. Of course, Phoebe also loves the spinny thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's got the little mat attached to it, and there's a little spinny arm that goes around and around and around on the floor. Phoebe loves this, but this, I had Phoebe in mind for these, is they are little stick-on, they're just like little stick-on snack stops, right? So it's like you stick it to the wall, and like you stick it to the wall or a piece of furniture that can handle whatever the adhesive is, and you take the caps off and put them back on, and so like you can take the caps off when like I don't know, like before bedtime or something. Like you put the caps on before bedtime or something and take them off in the morning. I don't know, but it's like you just stick them on the wall, and this suddenly it's like a little catnip stop. It's like, oh, that's right, I need a catnip right there. Yeah. So so yeah, like that's what I picked for the cats to hopefully enjoy when I do some more work with the unpacking and the setting up in the front room. I will hopefully take a short of Brân playing with the couple of water toys, and I like to get some more footage of Phoebe playing with the spinny thing and all that. I love my cats. And but yeah, I'm done. We've gone over 2 hours, which is all I intended for tonight. The I met none of my super chat goals, so I'm not going to sing to Phoebe. Nobody donated to super chats. I wasn't expecting a full 10 super chats, but I would have like thrown you guys a bone if it had come like at like, I don't know, like 4 even, not even half, right? So it's like I was gonna throw you guys a bone if it came to like if we could get like a minimum 4. I know I didn't say that, but it's like we got the goal for super chats here on the thing. I'm sure it comes up on the audience side. I do still do Ko-Fi. Yeah, I've still got my Ko-Fi, and I'm working on another thing to put up in the shop. Hold on, HTTP colon bump yeah, no, ko.fi.com/RU80HAN. Boom. There we go. So yeah, like I still got the Ko-Fi thing, and so yeah, like I'm working on another sweater style coat in Tunisian crochet, and when that's done, I'm gonna put that up on the shop because the pattern, the woman who designed the pattern, it is says in the pattern that like it's that she's okay with people making and selling from these patterns as long as like sufficient credit is attributed in your thing. So that's what I do. But when I go and I put together Phoebe's quinceañera dress for next year, I will design that pattern myself. I'm probably gonna base it on like a couple of antique doily patterns that I've got knocking around my collection. But yeah, like it's a very aged pattern. And I'm going to build from there, right? So yeah, I'm gonna make Phoebe a quinceañera dress for next year, because like when you've got a she gave birth to a stillborn litter before I adopted her, so she's not quite a queen. A queen implies that they gave birth to a live litter, but she's also not wouldn't be considered a Molly, which is a young adult female cat who has not yet given birth. Like it's the distinction between heifers and I forget is it just cow? Is it just cow? Because like when they haven't given birth, they're a heifer. So yeah, like Phoebe's in this like little like distinction between Molly and Queen. She's a princess. She's a princess. That's what we're calling it. If they've only given birth to a stillborn litter and then got spayed, they're a princess, right? Okay. So Phoebe's a princess. So like when you've got a princess cat who's about to turn, who's turning 15 years old, which will be next year, hope willing, right? So like when you've got a female cat who's going to turn 15 years old, you better damn throw that cat a quinceañera. Why? Because, well, I'm doing it because of the old meme image. But anyway, time to wrap up, and I'm gonna go watch my shows and get ready for bed. And oh yeah, I said something when I was talking about stimming and Rosie, and I kind of wanted to finish the thought. Is like, yeah, because like I will sweat like a pig over nothing sometimes, and so in the summer months, I like to keep my hair in the side braids because it kind of wicks up the sweat better, and I don't have hair stuck to my neck all day, right? Like anyway, I think it wicks up the sweat a little bit better, and like I said, like keeps my hair from sticking to my neck all day. So okay, but yeah, I guess and yeah, like like fidgeting with your hair, because like I said, like the hyperactive, it's not necessarily about like not quite hypomanic states even. It's about like impulsivity and fidgeting, and Rosie just has no idea what the hell she's talking about. But like I said, gonna wrap up, gonna click this end stream button in a few little seconds. Here we go. Nosta Achwil Tri Die in Them.